would be the U.S. champion, a title that's been held by everyone from the likes of Sting, Ric Flair, Vader. The biggest names in the industry have held this championship, so why not give it to someone like Ryback to kind of catapult his future championship career and legacy in professional wrestling? This second half of Ryback's career could really be the half of his career that defines his character, and I've said this many times over the years when doing columns and blogs on blogtalkradio.com with various other radio show hosts. The second half of a wrestler's career is really what goes a long way in defining it. This second half of Ryback's career is something for fans to pay attention to, something for fans to blog about, something for fans to comment on, for YouTube videos. Also, radio show hosts and columnists should jump on the Ryback bandwagon because of this, because this is really an important time in Ryback's career. This is really a critical time in his career. This is where he has to say, do I really want this? This is where he has to really put things into perspective. Because do I think Ryback is entertaining? No, I don't. Do I think he can be entertaining? Yes, I do think he can be entertaining. It's just going to take a lot of motivation and a step in the right direction for Ryback's character, because right now he's really only in a category of someone like a Kane, who's a director of operations, because Kane doesn't want to wrestle as much as what he probably did a decade ago when he was the Intercontinental Champion and one half of the Tag Team Champions for say. I appreciate the idea of Kane wanting to slow it down, but I don't think Glenn Jacobs wanted to slow it down this way, being the director of operations for the Authority. He's still on television and he still wrestles periodically, but they could have slowed it down in a more effective way for Kane. They could have took him off TV entirely. Nobody would have missed him, and they would have remembered him for his contributions. Now they're going to remember him for being an absolute idiot, being affiliated with Stephanie and Triple H, and nobody wants to be remembered at this point in Kane's career for being an idiot, and it's just stupid what they're doing with this character. I appreciated how they took Ryback off television. Fans were wondering where Ryback was, but in the time that he was gone, you would have thought they would have kind of took a step back and, come up with something more creative for Ryback to do. And, if people like CM Punk or Curtis Axel make a return in WWE, hopefully they'll have something more probable and more creative to do, and hopefully in time Ryback will fall into that category of having something more probable to do, because right now Ryback is just creating a yawn fest for fans and putting fans to sleep in the arenas and the fans watching at home, more especially the fans watching at home. I really feel for you, because I'm not entertained with what Ryback is doing at all, and I can't understand why any of you, and I can't blame you if you're not, I can't understand why any of you would be actually entertained by what Ryback is doing. I appreciate the slogan of "Feed me more," and it's feeding time. I appreciate how he comes out and taunts the fans by speaking directly to the camera with his entrance, the pyrotechnics, how he resembles Goldberg. This is another thing that really irritates me. You would have thought by now WWE would have signed Goldberg for the Goldberg-Ryback match for WrestleMania 30 last year. They didn't go through with that. That match hasn't come into fruition. This is a dream match that fans are talking about, the comparison between Ryback and Goldberg and how they're so similar with the personas and their characters, how Ryback went a number of months being undefeated. But the undefeated streak of Ryback was nowhere near. It was a far cry, as the saying goes, in professional wrestling, from the win streak of Goldberg that went something like 185 wins before Goldberg actually lost a match or something like that or higher for Goldberg before he lost his first match in WCW to Kevin Nash. I remember that night when Scott Hall got involved with the match with a taser, in a taser kind of way. It's nowhere near the win streak of Goldberg, but I really appreciate the comparison. It just disappoints me this match hasn't been followed through with, because there's so much potentiality with the feud between Goldberg and Ryback, especially with the off-air confrontation between Goldberg and Ryback in the wrestling attire off-air on Monday Night Raw a number of months ago. That was amazing, kind of like how The Rock and Batista had a face-to-face confrontation, The Rock and Brock Lesnar. We've had so many of these matches teased, but they've never been followed through with, and it's time to get going with something creative, especially around WrestleMania 31 time, with the return of The Undertaker rumored. The rumors of the main event of this year's WrestleMania being Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. So many rumors about matches. Can't forget Sting and Triple H in there as well. Hopefully Ryback will have something more probable to do rather than face Mark Henry like he did back at WrestleMania 29 in a match that he actually lost. That was the biggest thing that Ryback actually has done at a WrestleMania. That's one of the biggest things he's done at a WrestleMania in quite a while. So Ryback needs to get some WrestleMania momentum on his shoulders and ride with that, because really, for a wrestler that refers to himself as Ryback, he's been riding with absolutely nothing as of late. And I apologize for my criticism about Ryback that I'm going to be throwing up on YouTube, but really, is there anything that you can be more positive of towards Ryback right now rather than being criticizable about his character and the direction of it? I can't really find anything positive to say about Ryback, because there's nothing. positive to say about Ryback, and if there was something positive to say about Ryback, I would be saying it on this video blog. Maybe 6 months from now, I'll be saying something more positive about Ryback's direction with his character, but right now, there's nothing going on for his character, and I can't blame wrestling fans for being criticizable towards Ryback. I really appreciate all the conversation about Ryback since his return on Facebook and Twitter. I've been paying attention to the Facebook posts referring to Ryback and the tweets that have been coming out from Ryback's Twitter account, and the fans of professional wrestling wondering what kind of direction Ryback is headed in right now, but he's headed in any direction other than being a number one contender for the championship right now. They bring Ryback back only to fire him in a storyline with Dolph Ziggler and Eric Rowan, which makes no sense to me at all, on the first Raw of 2015. I can't tell you how frustrated I am with the first Raw and the conclusion of it of 2015. If this is any indication of what 2015 is going to bring us as wrestling fans, it's time to turn off the wrestling product altogether and focus on more entertainment issues out there, because this first Raw of 2015 was absolutely ridiculous. In my opinion, the ambulance match between Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose should have been in the main event position of Raw this past Monday for the first Raw of 2015. It was absolutely atrocious back on the 3rd of January, what they offered you for the first Raw of 2015. I thought, if anything, Sting was going to make an appearance on the first Raw of 2015 like Bret Hart did back in 2010 when Shawn Michaels convinced Mr. McMahon to bring Bret Hart back for the first time in 12 years, over a decade. This could have been the first time we could have seen Sting on a WWE television show and a WWE ring. They blew that opportunity. Obviously, Sting, if he's going to be involved in a match at WrestleMania with Triple H, will make an appearance a couple of weeks prior to WrestleMania, and creative as of right now feel it's too early to bring Sting in. You know, it's really irritating when you see the direction of what WWE is headed in this early in 2015. Big things are expected to be happening and nothing is happening. This could turn out to be a worst year, a catastrophe is the word I'm searching for, more so than what it was in 2014, when really the only big things that happened were the defeating of The Undertaker at WrestleMania, the breakup of the Shield, Daniel Bryan becoming champion. 3 critical things happened in 2014. A disastrous return for Batista. Just as quick as he returned, he was gone again. Nobody's heard or seen Batista since. So, you know, there's a lot of improvement that could be made in 2015, and I think the first place you can make improvement is with characters like Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, and Eric Rowan, who could have probable futures in WWE, but they seem to be going nowhere. They just be seeming to falling into the same categories as a Kane or a Heath Slater, who are having nothing done with their character. And can you really blame me at the end of this video blog for being as frustrated as I have been with the characters of Ryback and Dolph Ziggler, people who had probable futures 6 months ago, and now they don't seem to have probable futures at all? Let me know what your opinion of it is in the comments of this video at Jonathan Clarke 22 on our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can tweet me your opinion on Twitter with a creative hashtag. Can't tell you how much I appreciate those hashtags enough, at Jonathan Clarke 1, and on Facebook you can post it on our Facebook wall or by sending us a message at HEW Entertainment. Let us know what you think of the direction of Ryback's character. I really want some feedback on this one, more so than having to say feed me more over and over and over again. The response he gets from the crowd is overwhelming all the time. I don't even think he can believe the responses he gets from the crowd, and this should be telling WWE, you know, he should be in the same category of a Daniel Bryan. He should be getting over in championship matches. He should be getting more than one opportunity at a championship, more than once every blue moon. And I think this is really an indication of where Ryback should be, this fan response he's been getting. Really, he only gets an opportunity at the goal once every blue moon, and he should be getting more opportunities rather than once every blue moon. And I would really appreciate Ryback's character more if he was more in the main event position than what he is right now. He's kind of in the main event position one week, and then he's taken out of it, and he's busted down to the mid-card where he's feuding with the Intercontinental and U.S. champions. Really don't appreciate that, because Ryback, as he mentioned in a promo a couple of weeks ago on Raw, you know, he suffered from so many injuries, career-threatening injuries. He's been involved with wrestling since 2004. He's trained years to get to this point. He was brought back as Skip Sheffield. They did nothing with him in his second run of his career. And in this third run, this second half of his career is what I'm referring to it as. He's got a gimmick that could actually work with a lot of potential. It's just WWE are still keeping on putting Ryback on the back burner. And how long is it going to be before Ryback falls into a category of Randy Orton, who gets pissed off all the time, gets released, gets fired so many times over, then he's rehired, brought back again? Ryback, how long is it going to be before he's frustrated and we never see or hear from Ryback ever again? The only time we're going to be hearing from him, if this keeps going the way that it is on Facebook or Twitter, when he tweets out his frustrations to his fans, like CM Punk is currently doing with the wrestling product. And I can't blame Phil Brooks for being so frustrated with the wrestling product because it's going absolutely nowhere in a time that you would expect it to be doing something creative and more profitable this close to WrestleMania. And with how early WrestleMania is scheduled for in 2015 on the 29th of March, that's amazing how early WrestleMania is this year. That's happening earlier than what WrestleMania 12 did back in 1996 on the 31st of March, the final Sunday of the March of that year. So it's amazing, when you compare WrestleMania dates to years prior and how early this year's WrestleMania is. I know there have been earlier dates forecasted for WrestleManias like 1997 and 1998, but I can never remember a WrestleMania that's fallen this early in a calendar year. It's amazing how early WrestleMania is this year, and that's why I hope something more profitable happens for characters like Ziggler and Ryback, because they really need it. Because if they don't have something profitable happening for their characters, God knows where we're going to be by the halfway point of 2015, and I venture to say we're going to be nowhere with the product, because Ryback was brought in with so much promise, and now he seems to have no promise affiliated with him whatsoever. And that, by God, is just really, really frustrating. And I can't blame you for being frustrated if you're one of millions who fall in the same category of myself. I apologize for the criticism of Ryback with this week's video blog on our YouTube channel, which I will be archiving for you and not holding back on the archive. I will be throwing it up because I'm really frustrated with this. I'm more frustrated with this than anything going on in either professional wrestling or entertainment. But like I said here earlier, if things like this keep happening in professional wrestling, it's just we turn things over back to entertainment and talked about more entertainment issues concerning the entertainment business than the professional wrestling business, because the professional wrestling aspect is filled with nothing, only disappointment and despair. And I really hate that. Despair and depression, really,